Hello there.
My name is Steve.
So, you're claiming to be a time traveler, eh?
Yes, sir. This started when I was about 6 or 7 years old. Every night I would go to sleep, I would travel through time. As I progressed through this dream over the last 52 years, the entity that was taking me.
Obviously, you got to see some of the future.
During this bad depression of stock markets and the bear market, when it was down so bad, I made 121% interest on my money.
You used the information then to make good trades and become rich. On my time traveler line, you are upon the air. Hello.
I traveled into the future.
But what is your name?
Nunshi. It means the little people in Cherokee.
How did it happen?
I went to bed, I went to sleep. I woke up, early morning hours, everybody asleep. My bedroom door was open. And when I went down the hall to the entry hall, the front door was open. And I knew I was going to go meet ghosts. People who had died.
Even with what happened, would you have a knowing that this was what was going to occur?
Because the Great Spirit, his name is Jesus, he told me. But I didn't quite understand him. In my ability to understand him, I thought, oh, it's going to be ghost strewn. Oh, they're going to be see-through. I knew that my path was to walk out into the front yard. And I put my hand on the chain link fence post. Mm-hmm. And I saw lines of people. And these were all the people who had ever lived. Yes, everybody who has ever lived. I hadn't yet been enlightened. I didn't realize what was taking place was real, and it was in the future.
On my time traveler line, you're on the air. Hello.
My father died several years ago, and he used to take these 8mm movies. So what he did was he took these 25-foot reels, and then he spliced them together to make a 400-foot reel. Now, the last 25-foot reel that he took, I did not open. For some reason, I didn't open that for about 20 years. When I finally opened it up and I tried to squint to see the little pictures and see who was in it, all of a sudden I felt a change in my mental state. I felt that I was myself from the 1960s visiting in the 1990s. I felt I was myself in the 1960s visiting the 1990s. But it wasn't flickering. It was just in my hand. I was just looking at each frame. The thing is that afterwards, I have tried to do this again, and it has not worked.
At the time that it did occur, how real did everything seem? Were you actually there? Were you catching little flickers and flashes of it, or were you there?
It was like I was visiting another city, but I was visiting another time.
Your senses, the things you saw, the things you felt, you heard, that were all around you, were you really there?
I was in the 1990s. I was aware that I was in the 1990s. But for myself, any knowledge that I had gained, I'd studied stenotype in the 1960s. Now I know it. But had anybody asked me to do it, I don't think I'd be able to do it, at least immediately. My mindset was in the 1960s. And I was aware that I had temporarily become myself in the 1960s. The thing is that I've tried this again. It hasn't worked. And my theory is that the atmosphere, since this package has been closed for 20 years, the little puff of atmosphere of air in that may have just entered my nostrils. So I think that if you, go into an Egyptian tomb without the idea of getting treasure, but simply going back in time, if you collect the air from that, bring it back, and have somebody just breathe in that air.
You really think that could do it, huh?
I don't know.
All right, all right, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air, Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, for George Norrie, and you're on the time traveler line, which means that you must be a time traveler.
My name is Cross. I'm listening on KSTP in Minnesota.
You Cross, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Cross. So you've traveled in time. In what manner, please?
Actually, I was taken there by another individual. His name is Malachi. It's happened on multiple occasions. The first time I went to the year 2045.
What did you see?
It's actually more of a, I guess you could say, a medieval or tribal setting. There is no technology. It's more of an inner peace kind of atmosphere. People are on a one-on-one basis with each other, almost more on a telepathic level than actually through technology of cell phones or computers. In fact, there is no technology to be found.
Well, the future is brighter already. Human beings begin to evolve into telepathic, spiritual creatures, and we begin to drop all the trappings of technology. Is that it?
That is correct. And I believe, from my understanding of the experience and visually seeing what was going on, it's all brought about by a higher being from somewhere. I don't know if it's a religious entity or if it's a spiritual entity or if it's a outer space type entity or whatnot, but something comes to Earth and has touched these individuals in the future and has taught them the old age capabilities, I guess, in a sense that all humans have, and how to reuse them that they haven't used in a long time. And at the point in 2045, it's almost already has been for a good 5-6 years, so it's almost evolved to a point where it's natural occurrence, and that's why the technology is washed away and the lack of need for modern-day need of communication.
Interesting. And so then you saw people walking around serenely in a state of contemplative communication with each other, and it was a totally different world than we have today. But you're not quite sure what got us there, whether it was alien intervention, God's hand coming down and changing everything, or evolution, or just what, huh?
Exactly.
East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
This is Ed. Albert Einstein proposed that time and space are closely related. And as we hurtle through the universe in our galaxy, we're constantly moving. I would propose that we're all time travelers. At times, we're moving in opposition to all these natural movements in the universe. And I think there's a universal time. And as we move on the Earth in opposition to this natural movement, I think we have all experienced deja vu. And I believe at some point we get to a point where we've moved enough in opposition that we're out of sync with that universal time. We don't get all out of whack. At some point we have to come back. And so we experience deja vu.
Deja vu is just the sense that you have been somewhere or done something previously, right? Which could come from anything. Wow, I've been in this room or something. Time travel line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, my name is Steve.
All right, Steve, are you a time traveler?
Yes, I am indeed. I've been traveled in time and in space as well. I had first experience when I was, I think, about 19 years old. I was playing in a band, and I loved auto racing. And suddenly I saw the auto race before it happened. Yeah, and I saw a crash, a mortal wound to the driver, and I called my mom.
You saw something that was about to happen. I suppose in a sense that's time travel, isn't it? Precognition. I had one experience like that only, and so you made a call.
Yes, I told Mom, and so I said, let me know what happens because I saw something very frightening, and indeed everything I saw was what happened about 2 hours later. As far as spatial is concerned, I'm one of those people that every time you have a guest on, I've had almost every experience that most of your guests have. It's just been like that my whole life since I was a small kid.
Well, I've been on the air a long time, had a lot of guests. That would mean that you are a very experienced person indeed.
Well, I'm not bragging about it neither. I'm not saying that it's done me any good either. But I have been inside spacecraft. I have traveled through time. I'd be on your show if I wrote a book. I just never wrote a book.
What kind of spacecraft have you been in?
This went back to the mid-'80s. I met some people who told me that they were people that received writings, and they received a writing from space people for me. And they read it to me, and it sounded more like me than me. I thought I was getting hooked into some kind of weirdo group. I'm not a far-out character, you know. They told me that these people have been in communication with me since I was 5 years old. They asked me if I had any recollection of anything like that, and I told them that I used to go out at night, in the middle of the night, and just stare at the stars when I was a little boy. And I would see myself traveling amongst the stars. Mm-hmm. And the girl looked at me and said, your dream is going to come true. Mm-hmm. And when she looked at me and said that, her eyes got 5 times as big as they were before, and they were this green colored like a cat's eye. And at the moment I saw those eyes, she said to me, if you could only see your eyes right now, you would understand.
Hi there on the Time Traveler line. You're on the air.
Hi, Art. How are you today?
I'm all right. Where are you, sir?
I'd rather not say if that's okay.
All right. No, that's perfectly fine. We allow anonymity here. You're calling this line for obvious reasons. You believe you've traveled in time.
From this time to some type of start of creation, I'm not sure. What had happened is a doctor had bought a home. He was, his name is Dr. I don't know if I should
Well, all right,
say.
no, don't. We don't
Okay.
need the name. It's not important.
All right. And he invited us to a barbecue as a housewarming, and he had dozens of birds and whatnot in his garage. And I thought nothing of this, and my wife and I, we had a great time. We were, you know, joking and laughing, and there were several other neighbors. And he came up with a for instance, of have you ever gone back in time? You know, after the dinner and everything, you know, I thought it was a joke. And he pulled out a contraption and put it in the backyard, and it was about the size of a small triangular phone booth. And I laughed. I thought it was ridiculous. And I says, how can you travel in time back on that? And he said, well, let me show you. He put 2 or 3 birds, I think it was 3 birds actually, in the contraption.
Were you the only other one there?
No, my wife was there.
Your wife was there?
And actually
right.
another couple was there.
Okay.
He started up a generator, and it made a horrific noise, and it was like a lightning bolt. It was something that I can't even describe. I couldn't even see for about 10 seconds after it illuminated in the corner of the backyard. I thought it was a magic trick. I thought, this is fantastic. He's a magician. About 10 minutes later, he said, no, watch it. It'll return with almost the same energy. Not quite as much. It did return. There was a flash. The birds were back. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
Was this a regular physician kind of doctor? I mean, an internist or, you know, something or another normal, or was he...
He was in physics, I believe. Some kind of doctorate.
That kind of doctorate. Okay. All right. Well,
No, he takes the dog, his own personal dog, and he does this. He put the dog into this booth type thing, and he energized it, and he did it again for a second time. Now the dog has gone. Approximately 10 minutes later, he makes the dog return. Now he asks, do I have any volunteers? Now again, I think this is a magic trick. I volunteer, having probably a few too many Budweisers, and I sit in this contraption. Well, I've never been so scared in my life. It's like somebody put a flash bulb on a camera in my face. That's all I can remember. I don't remember anything else. That's all I can describe it as. A thump. I fell out of bed. I look, and I'm in the middle of some forest. I don't know where I am. I have no idea. I can't tell you where I am. I have no idea. Get out. And I'm like, oh, my God, where am I? I don't know where I am. Now I'm in fear because I don't know what to think. I don't have any inclination. The only thing I can tell you is that it might be at dusk or dawn.
you could have been in the jungles of Brazil or something, for all you know.
I don't know. I can't even tell you. I don't know where I was.
So,
all I know is I was in some kind of forest.
Can you remember what you did? Did you walk? Were you able to function in this world, or were you just there and gone, or what?
I was able to get out of the vehicle, or whatever you want to call it.
It was there physically with you.
It was with me. So I just stepped around, and I didn't want to go away too far away from the vehicle, figuring that I'd be stuck there. And I got back in the vehicle. Maybe 3 minutes had taken place. But it's like a door that you could open, and you could walk out. I thought it was a joke. Again, a flash bulb, bam. I don't remember anything. And I remember people laughing. And that's all I can remember. And that was it. And this is the scary part. Supposedly, this doctor that had invited us over, he just bought the house, he had only been living there for a month, commit suicide in his garage from some obscure reason. This is approximately 3 weeks later.
3 weeks later, you find the doctor is now, the PhD has committed suicide.
Yeah, there's nothing on the premises, we're wondering what happened. There is no basis for why this man has done this. He was a jubilant single man. I think he was 59. That was it.
You were either shifted geographically or shifted in time.
Oh, no doubt.
And maybe he's now elsewhere, and what they think, the body they think they loaded in, is just the one they happen to load in.
And as the party, broke up and whatnot, I said, exactly what happened? He said, well, I've discovered a generating system that, to put it in layman's terms, will transport you back and forth into time. And I said, that's absolutely ludicrous. I've never heard of such a thing. And he said, well, that's why I had you do it first, to experience it, because otherwise you would never believe me. And I looked at him and I said, I started thinking maybe he was crazy, but then I'm thinking, well, where was I? Where did I go? What better way to prove it to you than to do it first and then talk about it?
On my time travel line, you're on the air. Good morning. Yes, sir. What's up?
Well, about 44 years ago, I took a short time trip as a result of an accident. I was talking on the phone with my girlfriend, and I was struck by lightning.
Can you describe exactly what happened, what you can recall?
I was sitting on a couch that my mom and dad had covered with plastic, the 1960s stuff.
Yeah, of course, yes.
And when the lightning came through the phone, a ball of lightning came through the mouthpiece and knocked me about 20 feet. It was very strange because all of a sudden I was outside my body, and I was looking back at the area where the phone was, and I was still sitting there. At this point, I was looking at myself before the lightning struck. I was kind of hovering there. My existence was kind of hovering in the air, looking at myself, and I actually saw the electric pulse come in through the phone line, and I watched in very slow motion as the phone line began to melt, and the lightning came out of the phone and struck me. And everything was moving very, very slowly, like a slow-motion picture. As things were progressing, it started moving a little quicker and a little quicker. And at the point where the ball of lightning came through the mouthpiece of the phone and struck me in the head, and my body came off the couch, my body started moving towards my essence. And at that time, things started moving a little quicker. Like the best way to describe it is when you're watching a film and the reel starts to slip, and it kind of flickers a little bit, and then it starts to catch up.
It's like it just blew you right out of your body, and then sort of out of the present time stream, and then back again.
Right.
Well, such a large electromagnetic occurrence just might do exactly something like that.
And as my body got closer to my essence, things were speeding up and becoming almost more into normal time.
Yeah.
And as my body merged with my essence, there was a tremendous flash. And up to that time, I hadn't had any pain or any sensation. And when my body merged with my essence, it hurt. And that's the best way I can describe it.
Well, that's absolutely incredible. Thank you very much. That is an amazing story. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. And your first name?
Mark.
Okay, Mark.
My father presented this UFO time travel theory to me, and I thought it was perfect for tonight's topic. You know how when you travel through space, you're traveling, like if you take a piece of paper, you're traveling the distance of the piece of paper.
Right.
And if you fold that piece of paper end to end, then you could travel from one end to the other end without traveling the distance.
Physicists use this example all the time to explain the folding of space-time, yes.
Well, my father believes that the UFOs that we see are actually ourselves from the future coming back, checking up on us, or however you want to put that one.
I can imagine that there might be reasons why a future us would be back here, perhaps observing, if not attempting to affect things.
And how come the UFOs just seem to disappear or appear across the sky?
Yes, and they do that, as in really disappearing, to our point of view anyway. Yeah, you're right. Very good thought, sir.
Yeah, on a side note, there's a movie called Happy Accidents. It's about time traveling with Marissa Tomei. You might want to check that out.
Any movie connected to time travel, I guarantee I will check out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. On my time traveler line, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm David from Albany. Do you know that the South American Indian look at going through life as though walking backwards because what you see is only memory?
No, I never thought about it that way.
And what you are experiencing right this moment is brought about collectively your likes, dislikes, experiences of love and hate and so on. And they're cumulative to the point where you have a picture which you establish feelings, and with your intentional focus, you then project it into what we call the curtain of reality.
The curtain of reality.
Yeah. If you drop this curtain, you'd see heaven.
We're erecting a barrier between ourselves and heaven, is what you're suggesting.
Correct. Mm-hmm. The other item is that space and time, in fact, do have similarity because time does not exist until you project it into 100% time and reality. The other item about space, in Raja Yoga, we used to do mantras. That creates space. Now, at times, when I'm driving a cab and I notice that I'm putting in a lot of people and delivering them, and this time appears to be going very slow because I look at the clock and I see that I've done more in say, 2 hours than I would normally do in 12. And then it seems about 6.5 hours later, it begins to catch up with itself, and everything goes back normal.
So pretty interesting. As you consider the nature of time and the possibility of time travel, all of this is absolutely riveting. And it's been something that I've been studying perhaps more than I've even mentioned to you or that you've imagined as you've listened to my program. I've spent a fair amount of time on it and have some devices that I'm ever so tempted to test myself. And that was plural, as in more than one device. Sort of a little tantalizing place to leave it, huh? I am so convinced that time travel is real and that time travelers are out there that I do think only you can be the judge, but I'm telling you they're out there.